All right, welcome everybody to our NORTHFORCE business meet and greet. This is our second business meet and greet for 2022. My name is Amber Lewis. I am a Lead for Minnesota fellow serving Northspan as their welcoming community program coordinator and working with NORTHFORCE to host the business meet and greets for 2022. So today we have our second business meet and greet, like I said, and we're excited to have our organizations here today. We have Range Mental Health, we have Ecumen Lakeshore, and the DECC represented here today. And we're excited to hear a little bit more about who they are and what it looks like to work for them and some positions they might currently be hiring for. So to get started, we just have a brief overview of the agenda. We'll just take 5 minutes to talk about zooming in and introductions. And then we'll have about 40 minutes for our business presentations. They'll each have 10 to 15 minutes to present, followed by 10 minutes of Q&A. And that will be the end of our session. So we're in Zoom here today, which most of you are very familiar with. You have control of your camera and mic. Please stay on mute while our presenters are speaking so that we do not interrupt them. Feel free to use the hand raise function or use the chat box if you have any comments during the presentations, and we'll get to those afterwards. And there you go, just a little bit of an overview of all the functions you have available to you. And like I said, we will have that Q&A session at the end of the session where we'll get to ask all of our presenters any questions that you might have and do a little bit of that networking that's so important in building connections across our communities. So like I said, these are our 3 presenters for the day. We're going to begin with Range Mental Health Center, and we have Becky, and she has a couple of friends joining her. So I'm going to turn it over to Becky to begin your presentation. Please introduce yourself and let us know who is presenting with you, and you can all introduce yourselves and we'll get to know you a little bit.
Hi, thank you, Amber, for having Range Mental Health Center on this. My name is Becky Kuzisto, and I am the Human Resources Manager at Range Mental Health Center. Today, I have with me Sarah Rohr and Emily McGonigal, who are our clinical managers, and they'll have a little bit of a piece to say as we get through this. So I would like to start by sharing my screen and showing a little video. Not going to work for me, is it? Try it again.
It's always tricky trying to figure out all the tech challenges.
It is, and I don't see it. I did this yesterday and I practiced this and it's just not working for me. So let's try this. You're seeing a video pop up?
Yeah, we see it there. And make sure you click your share sound as well. So usually when you go to share your screen, there's a little box in like the lower left-hand corner maybe to share sound. Usually just on so when you click on share screen on the Zoom, it's on that screen, like where you click on the screen you're going to share. There's also a little tiny box in like the bottom line, I think. Otherwise, I don't know if we'll be able to hear the sound.
I think you might have to stop sharing, Becky, and then go like you're going to share again. And then when you're in that page that you're going to share, then there's a little button at the bottom that says share sound.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to explain it. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, I think I got it.
Or said God because I was angry with God then, but I'm sure now I can easily say God's got me because I shouldn't have survived a lot of things that I went through. I had my own suicide attempts and my own beyond risk behaviors and things that I did. I've been clean and sober for 8 years. I went through a lot of suicidal stuff and my own issues with that because of the drug addiction, because of abuse, because of trauma. Range Mental Health has always been there for me. They've always helped me through things. They've always listened. They've always understood. They never judged, so they're part of saving my life. It led into a job here. I'm a peer support specialist. I work with other people in the community who maybe deal with the same type of mental health issues I've dealt with in my life, or chemical dependency issues, because I've dealt with both. It gives good balance to my life. It helps me in return keep focus on my recovery and what I want to get out of life. I guess it reminds me that everybody goes through stuff and it's okay. Knowing that I might have touched one person's life to keep them alive that day, it's all worth it.
Range Mental Health Center is a community mental health center, which means it's designated as an essential community provider, which means we serve all people from birth to the end of life. It started in an office with 2 therapists in downtown Virginia. And so, yes, they grew from that. And we've been the major provider of mental health services in this area for that amount of time.
6 years for anything is a milestone. I mean, to be around that long as a large portion of the community, it's amazing. And to have that support in the community to keep us around.
We are usually there at the most painful points in people's lives to provide the support that they need to become healthy and feel better. And if somebody comes back and says, you helped save me, or I didn't think about killing myself after I had that conversation, or I have found a therapist I really connect with, or my chemical dependency it helped me be healthy, I know we've done our jobs.
We have roughly 150 employees. I would have to say our workforce is compassionate, family-oriented, and positive people. That's truly what I feel about all of us here at Range Mental Health Center.
The frontline workers are the ones that are doing the work, right? Our employees are the people that are out there in the public that everybody sees to do the work that we feel is so important to help people in the community, and they're vital to the success of our organization.
Mental health crisis is among all of us in the community, can hit any of us at any time, and we're just so grateful in northern St. Louis County to have that for our friends and folks in the community who need that. I'm a bridge builder, led the board by trying to forge as many partnerships as we could to further the mission of the agency. I think the crown jewel of that during my tenure as board president was the establishment of the Wellstone Center. We were happy to partner with the Wellstone family in creating Minnesota's first community-based residential crisis center. People no longer have to go to the emergency room. It's a great example of how agencies and nonprofits and government can all work together for the common good. And we've expanded all our programming, chemical dependency, ADAPT, outpatient services. So I'm glad that that has come to fruition, widening our footprint in the far northern part of the county, because the need is great in the Ely Tower area.
And there's changes coming, as we all know. So we're moving into this next decade, so to speak, to become a certified behavioral community health center clinic. It means that we look at the person first when they come in the door, and we try to get them access and care in a shorter amount of time versus looking at a schedule and seeing where they fit in. And so we're changing our workflows to meet the needs of the people, to be more person-centered. And I think it's the wave of the future in providing mental health care and treatment. And I think it's going to help this organization thrive going forward.
It's a good question.
Okay, so with that, we are a not-for-profit agency. And our services include psychiatry, chemical dependency, addiction and detoxification, case management, ARMS, peer support, homeless and housing, school-linked mental health, a mobile crisis team, crisis assessment and stabilization, and outpatient therapy. So we kind of have an umbrella of services that has something for everyone. And with that being said, I'm going to hand off to Sarah Rohr, our clinical manager.
Thank you, Becky. So yes, I'm Sarah Rohr, and I'm a licensed independent clinical social worker, and I am one of the clinical managers. Emily and I share supervision of our outpatient therapy program, and I also supervise our school-based mental health program as well. So really excited to be here and to have this opportunity to talk a little bit about our services and our program. And I think it's important to know that Range Mental Health Center has, not only have we been around for a long time, but we are always looking to grow and expand and continue to achieve being the best place to work and the best place to provide services for the people in our community. So I've been with the company for almost 5 years, and really during that time have started out as a therapist part-time, and have worked in the school systems, have worked in our outpatient office. I'm actually located in our Ely office. And then have been able to continue to advance my professional growth with the company, supervising some of our outpatient therapists, as well as our school-based staff, and really starting to broaden our internship program, which I'm really proud about, and think that we've done a great job connecting with local schools in the area, UMD, Scholastica, and several online programs as well, and bringing our agency into a more expanded community reach, and also being able to see the growth from interns coming in and working with us, and then enjoying their work and feeling supported by the agency, and feeling so good about the work that they've been able to do with clients in the community that they've wanted to continue with us, and have gone on to become employees and have stayed with us and continue to grow in their level of professionalism. So it's a really wonderful opportunity for people to come in, and we do provide paid internships. So that's been something that's been really great for our employees that are wanting to advance their education, as well as for students who are, in the process of getting their education and then need a little bit of financial incentive to help them to be able to continue to grow professionally and academically. So really excited for the opportunities that we have, and I could talk for a long time, but I'm going to hand it over to Emily McGonigal, our other clinical manager.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily McGonigal, and I am also excited to be here. I do co-supervise clinically the outpatient clinic with Sarah, and then I am in charge of the ARMS, peer support, and targeted case management programs as well, clinically. And kind of to expand a little bit on what Sarah was saying for the internship opportunities, that is something that both Sarah and I are very excited about. And it's not only our master's levels interns that we're taking on, but we are also really excited to bring on bachelor's level interns. So it creates opportunities for both levels, and we have multiple positions that we're really excited to share and create opportunities for. I've actually been with the agency for just about a year now. And I kind of wanted to share my story. I've recently moved up to this area and was looking around of where to join in terms of being able to bring my clinical skills. And when I saw the advertisement for Range Mental Health Center, and it's a big piece of it is what Janice had talked about in the video, but really just that excitement and the shifts that are happening, and how the agency is looking to move into the new decade and become a CCBHC, which is the Certified Community Behavioral Health Center. And what that really means is serving the individual as a whole, and being able to not only through therapy, but also through other programs, whether it's ARMS, peer support, services in the school, which is CTSS, but really being able to wrap those services around the individual to help them reach their own personal wellness goal. And I think that those shifts of really coordinating services together and maximizing opportunities for individual that we serve is one of the exciting things that drew me to the agency. And since I've joined, I've just seen so much movement and those moments happening over and over. So I think that is an exciting place of where we're headed, and it's coming just fast and furious for us. So that's a little bit of what I wanted to share with you guys today. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Becky.
Okay, just to wrap up really quick, we do have many positions available, and they start from entry level all the way up to senior level management positions. And to learn more about Range Mental Health Center's history, vision, values, and to apply, you just have to visit rangementalhealth.org. And I'm open for questions.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Becky, Sarah, and Emily. We appreciate that. We will move on to our presenter from Ecumen, Lakeshore, and then we'll come back for questions. So anybody on the call who has questions, please be thinking about what you want to ask, and we'll come back to that at the end of our presentations and ask some questions. But thank you. All right, so from Ecumen, we have Melissa and I believe Jenna are on the call. I will turn it over to you to tell us about Ecumen Lakeshore.
Great, thank you. So I'm Melissa Rohr. I'm the Director of Nursing at Ecumen Lakeshore in the Fountains, which is our short-term rehab or transitional care unit. First off, I just want to say thanks to Becky, Emily, and Sarah for sharing about Range Mental Health and all the amazing work you do to serve the community. So much appreciation and respect for the work that you guys do. I'm going to turn it over to Jenna, and she's going to talk about our Ecumen Lakeshore culture and organization in general, and then I'll share about opportunities for employment with us here at Ecumen Lakeshore across our campus.
Yeah, so I'm Jenna Evans, and again, like Melissa said, I really enjoyed hearing about Range Mental Health. I know the great things you do in the community, but the stories are definitely heartwarming. So at Lakeshore, we are a senior community located just on London Road, just past the Glensheen Mansion. We serve primarily older adults. We have independent housing, assisted living, memory care, short stay rehab, which Melissa mentioned, and then we have home care and hospice as well. So we serve a large population of older adults. Of course, you notice that we're both still wearing our masks. We are still required to mask up in this setting where we work with vulnerable adults. So the culture at Lakeshore, so I've been here for a little over 8 years, and you know, not only the community that we serve, the older adults with such great memories and lives to share with us, but the team that I get to work amongst is truly what's kept me here and in this industry. We have just under 300 employees, and that's serving all of those lines that I discussed earlier. So there's a lot of different opportunities for somebody entry level that's never worked in healthcare before, or somebody that's very clinical or very experienced. We've probably got a spot for them, which is fun. A lot of opportunities to grow within this community. Trying to think what else could I say about Lakeshore?
I think that's good
Okay.
coverage. As far as opportunities with us here at Ecumen Lakeshore, like in our assisted living and memory care area, we have what we call resident assistants. So these are non-licensed or non-certified team members. They essentially function very similar to like a personal care attendant or a CNA, but they aren't required to have certification or that additional schooling. So that's in our assisted living and memory care area. So it's very entry level. We hire a lot of high school students into that, but then also experienced PCAs or even CNAs. If somebody does have their CNA and is experienced, they can still work in that assisted living and memory care setting, and they get additional compensation for having that CNA certification. But at a minimum, it's considered a resident assistance, and it's unlicensed and entry level. In our Fountains short-term rehab or transitional care unit that I oversee, we have a variety of positions. Right now, through the Minnesota Department of Health, there is a waiver where you can hire on team members who are interested in becoming CNAs. We do provide our own CNA certification class using the on-track curriculum, which is endorsed by the Minnesota Department of Health. It's a 4-week program that we pay for to turn out new CNAs to be employed on our campus. But team members, as they wait till we hold our next CNA course, they can work as CNAs. We provide on-site, on-the-job orientation in the unit, ensure that they're competent and comfortable to be independent, and they can work and care for patients in our setting until they can complete that CNA certification class and successfully test out. And we partner with Lake Superior College for that test out process. After that, once we, people can be a CNA in our setting. So that's an entry level position or experience level. So we have CNAs that have been here for over 35 years, and we have people who are brand new out of that on track CNA program. So quite the continuum of experience in the fountains, which really makes for a good mix of team members to help really build up the clinical knowledge and skills of the newer team members with that of our expert team members. Our career laddering for CNAs, we have an opportunity for them to become trained medication aides or TMAs. So it's a CNA that goes on to take an additional 8-week certification course through Lake Superior College. It's offered, it's all online. And they learn some pharmacology and pathophysiology to learn how to identify medications, what medications are for, what you should watch for. And they do the medication administration then in the unit, and they also get additional compensation for that education. And here at Lakeshore, we reimburse for that certification as well. So TMA certification will be reimbursed upon successful completion of the program. We also employ licensed practical nurses and registered nurses as well in the fountain setting. So nurses in our setting, we're kind of unique. In general, the perception in the community is that in the fountains, we're long-term care. We really only have one long stay resident. All other patients are pretty quick turnover. Our average length of stay is around 17 days. So we have patients that come in if they've had like joint replacements or open heart surgery, patients who've had COVID that have respiratory compromise or distress that needs to be managed before they can successfully go home. So we have a variety of patients. So our nurses actually have a higher acuity skill set than maybe you would get in a long-term care setting, but not quite as maybe intimidating as a hospital setting might be. So, for when there's new nurses or nurses who don't feel comfortable in the higher acuity settings, we're kind of a good sweet spot in the middle of having some complexity, but then also some stability and continuity of care with our patients because of that length of stay. So we employ LPNs and RNs to help care for our patients as well. And then across the campus, we have some service lines that serve all of our patient populations and resident and tenant populations. So that would be like our culinary services, maintenance, environmental services teams, and our receptionists. So they really help to serve all campus service lines. So whether it's cleaning rooms and maintaining the facility and the grounds, serving, so like in our assisted living memory care, we have very like restaurant style serving for those residents and tenants. So we have servers from our culinary team that help with food prep and food serving, maintenance team members that do all the fixing in the apartments in our independent living, and then also in the fountains if we need special equipment, they help set up stuff with that. So, and all of these can be anywhere from entry level as well to experience. So really, like Jenna said, we really have a role for anyone in their skill set if they're looking to explore new opportunities or a new career path that can start really at square one with us here at Lakeshore. That's
Great. Great. Thank you, Melissa and Jenna. Lots of great opportunities and training available. I appreciate you sharing that. All right, we're going to turn it over to Lauren and Lucy from the DECC to tell us a little bit about the DECC and some opportunities available there.
Yeah, 1 second while I share my screen here.
That would work.
Okay.
All right. Are you seeing our PowerPoint here?
Yes.
All right. I'm Lucy Amundsen. I do all things wordy here at the DECC. I'm the communications director. And this is probably what you think of when you think of the DECC, this building. But we're also like this giant cathedral to hockey in the Northland and in the Midwest, actually, when it comes to collegiate hockey. And as you probably know, we have some folks vying for national titles right now. And the women's hockey is here as well, and they have won more national titles than the men. We're also home to our Olympic curlers. We have the largest performance hall available in our region. We have a lot of great music, and we bring the crowds to Duluth. We do big expos. This photo was at the ice show, which had a seal show. We do giant art shows, which gives an opportunity for our local artists to showcase and sell their creations. We have a boat. You might have come on it at one point. We also do the largest Midwest dog show. And we only say that because dogs are fun and adorable. But my colleague here is going to talk more about what we have for positions available, because we host all these big events and we really are mission driven, trying to make Duluth just a better place.
Yeah. So my name's Lauren. I'm our human resources manager and kind of our wellness coordinator as well here. So I get to do all of our hiring. So we have a lot of positions in catering, such as servers, cooks, dishwashers, everything that you can think of that involves food in a large setting. We also, that's prepping some meals. You can see we have bartenders. We set up bars in a lot of different locations. Our bartenders and servers, their wage includes gratuity, and it ranges anywhere from $16 to $30 an hour on average. So it's a great part-time gig. We have a Blue Bridge. So we have this position open right now, a part-time Blue Bridge operator. So that's looks like a fun spot to work right by the lake. We're also hiring for tour guides right now on the boat. So that's a really fun summer job for any students or just anyone looking to get out this summer and give some tours. And then we also have maintenance positions like this. Those are part-time union roles that we have. And here's just kind of a breakdown as well. So in catering, we're hiring servers, bartenders, anyone in concessions. On our Blue Bridge and Irvin, they're kind of by each other. So tour guides and operators. In our building here, we are looking for people to help with convention setup and tear down, any custodial event services. Overnight crew could help with security and setup and things like that as well. Guest services, and then security for events as well. And then for maintenance, like I mentioned, we also have building maintenance available. And then we do have a lot of really fun perks. Free parking is our biggest one. Your parking pass would get you to access to anywhere downtown, whether it's the Skywalk, Canal Park, or just parking here for free to come to work. We do offer paid time off for all of our employees. We have a gym right on site here that's open when the building's open. Where we have a wellness program happening. And lots of fun things like retirement accounts, referral programs. You can earn extra paid time off if you refer someone and they get hired. You get free tours on the Irvin. Lots more as well. And then we have free yoga classes every Thursday right now as part of our wellness program. I missed a few, I think. Oh, yeah. I also did want to mention, we do have 2 full-time positions open. We have an administrator receptionist position open, and then an assistant building services manager role, which are both full-time, one with a little bit of varying schedules, but, and then let's see. Yeah, so that's what our parking passes looks like. And if you want to check out any of our positions, you can scan this code, and then all of our positions are posted online along with the descriptions. And if you want to just come in and chat about any of the positions, I hold interviews every Wednesday from 11:30 to 12:30 through the spring here. But you can always just connect with me, and I'd love to talk about any of our positions. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Lucy and Lauren. That was quick and a lot of information in a short amount of time. All right, so it's time to transition into our Q&A session. But before we do that, I would love our candidates who are on the call to introduce yourselves. If you could tell us your name, where you're zooming in from, and why you're here today, that would be great. So let's see, I think I can see most of you on here, so I'll just calling you by name. If you don't mind introducing yourself, please do. Jose, would you introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Jose. I'm a career counselor with the City of Duluth Department of Workforce Development. My purpose in being here is to learn what a North Force business meet and greet looks like and what happens here, so I can go tell all the job seekers I work with and start coming to these and start applying at your organization. So it was great hearing from everybody today.
Well, thank you, Jose. We appreciate having you here. William, will you introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is William. I'm zooming in from Itasca Community College right now. And I'm just interested to learn more about businesses and opportunities in the Northland.
Great, thank you. Brooke, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Brooke. I'm a PSEO student at Itasca, and that's where I'm zooming in from as well. And I am just here to learn more about businesses in the Northland and look for future opportunities after college.
Yeah, and William and Brooke are two of our Student Connect students. They've been going through our Student Connect program through NORTHFORCE and taking advantage of some professional development opportunities. And I'm excited that they're taking advantage of this time to be able to network and see the career landscape across the Northland here. And then Christine.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christine. I work with the Inn on Madeline Island, so over in Wisconsin. So I am here similar to Jose, learning about meet and greet Northland and just creating connections and partnerships. So we all have the same goal, which is to hire the best candidates and support our students out there.
Great, thank you. All right, so Q&A time. If anybody has some questions that you thought of during those presentations from Range Mental Health, from Ecumen Lakeshore, from the DECC, anything that you'd want to know, that this is your time to just ask whatever questions are on top of your mind. You can feel free to come off of mute, put a question in the chat, whatever you feel comfortable with.
First of all, thank you all for sharing today. It was really cool to just hear a little bit about each organization and what you do for the community. I had a question for Range Mental Health Association. Sorry, I can't quite remember what the A stands for. But I was curious, like, what schooling is needed and like what would the opportunities and like internships look like in your organization?
I will jump in, but Emily and Becky, feel free to also answer. I think, like Becky shared, we have a lot of different positions, and some of them from entry level. Maybe Becky can speak a little bit more to the specifics around that. But there's really no. It's a wide range of what you need as a background. So I can say, as far as the internships go, we are partnered up with several bachelor's level social work programs and master's level social work programs, as well as school counseling programs, psychology programs. And we have been focusing a lot on preparing people for therapy positions as we that's a bulk of what we do at the agency. But we certainly also have other programs that I will let Becky speak to a little bit more in our treatment center and with our nursing programs, because that's not my area.
Yeah, so in our treatment programs, we have entry-level positions, which obviously don't need any kind of schooling other than a high school diploma or a GED. And same along the lines with our nurses. Obviously, you need to have that LPN certificate or a registered nursing license in order to be part of that. I do also want to mention that, along the lines of the internships that we do offer, when you become licensed and you've kind of moved through those ranks at Range Mental Health Center, we are part of National Health Service Corps. And that's a huge recruiting piece that we use to keep and retain staff. Also, it's difficult to become a National Health Service Corps provider. And you have to be in a HIPSA zone and get a certain number in that for a HIPSA score. So with what that means is if you came in, got licensed and continued to be on, you could apply for becoming an applicant through the National Health Service Corps. And it's a federal loan repayment program that will pay up to 50% of your student loans off. So as long as you go through a 2-year plan with the National Health Service Corps and us.
Great question, William, and thank you for those answers from Range Mental Health. Any other questions? So I have one question I was thinking about as each of you presented. What does your hiring process, interview process typically look like? I know that's different across organizations. Usually you have kind of online application and then a series of interviews, 1 interview, 2 interviews. What does that usually look like? And maybe we'll start with the DECC and have you answer first, and then we'll go to Ecumen and back to Range Mental Health.
Sure, yeah. So we encourage people to apply on our website. Once we receive the applications, I'm usually the one to coordinate if it needs to be who's doing the interview, I suppose, whether it's myself or we have certain supervisors. And it's, yeah, they're provided questions. It's kind of basic for our areas. They are entry-level positions. So they use their best judgment and experience in their areas to make sure it's the best candidate.
Great, thank you, Lauren.
Here at Lakeshore, we're fairly similar. We have an online application process. We also hold about monthly hiring open houses where people can just come right on site and interview and don't necessarily have to have applied online quite yet. And then we help them through the application process should they receive an offer from the team. But otherwise, typically our recruiters are in contact with however candidates preferred, whether it's text messaging, which seems to be the most popular nowadays, but also email and phone calls. And then sometimes we'll have a phone interview just to get more information about what the candidate is looking for, to really align the interview opportunity with the right service line and team that aligns with what the candidate is looking for as far as interests. And then typically an on-site interview with decision within a few days after that. So pretty quick turnaround time. Our onboarding process is usually around 2 weeks.
Great, thank you.
I would have to say the same thing. We start off as an online application, and what Human Resources does once we receive that is we check in with the managers, see what they can do for interviewing, and we kind of put it in the manager's ballpark on doing the interview. Sorry, and then we sometimes, it kind of depends on the situation. So sometimes in the higher level positions, we can do phone interviews and then move to a face-to-face. And we've really utilized Zoom interviews quite a bit. So just because we have providers all over the place, we're not just in Virginia or Hibbing, we have Ely and other places too that it's just easier to connect with everybody when we do a Zoom. So.
Great, thank you, Rebecca. Is that typically two interviews?
Not typically. It just depends on the position and what the manager wants to do.
Okay, and what is the timeline usually before placement with somebody who applies online, say?
I say, well, once we receive the application, they know immediately that we've received it. And then I would say typically between a week to a week and a half do we get interviews scheduled.
Okay, great, thank you. Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts or questions that come up after that conversation?
Hi, Becky, I have a question for you. One of the things I sometimes advise job seekers to do is to just get to know an employer, whether it's calling a recruiter or maybe just doing some informal conversations to get to know an employer. Is it okay if job seekers contact somebody in your HR department just to chat prior to applying or to learn more?
Definitely. Here at Lakeshore, I've received plenty of inquiries that come through. They typically call our general number that goes to our receptionist and usually get routed to our people services director. And then she kind of aligns people with the right service line or the right hiring manager to, if she can provide answers to the candidates' questions, but just to get some more specific information, because I think it's so important to, as employers, we realize that candidates in the workforce really have a lot of opportunities and a lot of options. And I respect candidates that reach out and really try to align and make sure an organization is a good fit for them. So I think that's smart to do, and we welcome that here at Lakeshore. I think it's important to have that opportunity to share what we can offer a candidate, and it's wise on the candidate to make sure it aligns with what they're looking for.
Thank you. Range Mental Health, then the same question.
Yes, absolutely. I field many calls and I just route them to the appropriate people if I can't answer those questions. yes, I definitely encourage that. It's important to know the culture, the mission, vision, values of any employer that you are seeking out. So I absolutely encourage that.
Great. And then maybe Lauren or
It sounded like
Lucy?
Lauren was pretty into that, which is good to hear.
Yeah, no, yeah, we do the same thing. We always have lately a lot of positions posted as well. So it's really nice to be able to talk to the candidate beforehand and explain everything and kind of find what's a great fit for them too, to make sure they are applying to the one that'll work best for them. So yeah, I love it when candidates call as well.
Yeah. And you said you have a day Wednesdays when you actually let candidates come in and do kind of open interviews. So that's great. Great to hear. One question I had, Lauren, on the part-time positions. So most of your positions at the DECC are part-time positions. What does that typically look like? Is it a pretty big range of different hours available, or what do those part-time positions look like?
Yeah, they are mainly event-based. So the more events we have, the more hours that people normally get. So like for our convention setup, they'll get a lot of hours leading up to the events, and then it'll calm down while the event's happening. And then when it's time to transition to a different event, so they could be up to 25 hours a week, or maybe even up to like 28 typically for their part-time positions. Our servers and bartenders tend to have full-time jobs already, and then they just come in like a couple times a month to do the fun big events and stuff. So it really varies. It depends on what the candidate's looking for, and then also the type of events we have, because not all events are going to have 6 bars. But if we have a UMD hockey game happening and then the home show, or it's a combination of things, you can need 100 bartenders in an evening. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Lauren. Lots of variety.
Yeah.
One other question that I always like to ask our employers that are on this call is, what is something that you really love or appreciate about your job? What has kind of kept you in the position that you're in? What is something you appreciate maybe about your organization more broadly? And we'll go back to Range Mental Health, if you don't mind answering that.
Absolutely. And I could actually take this one first, and we can maybe pass it around. One of the things that I love the most is the collaboration with the peers and the creative way that we're able to really serve individuals and support them, and then ultimately watching them achieve their personal goals and heal. It's such a rewarding way to be able to serve people, and it does just keep you coming back every day.
I'll jump in really quick. I think that, so I've been with Range Mental Health Center for 16 years now, and I started out in one of those entry-level positions on the client side of things. So I worked hand in hand with the clients, and then moved up in the ranks, saw my opportunity for HR because I went to school for business and took that opportunity. So there's so much room to grow, I guess, and to learn and experience new things. That it just has kept me here. I love the family aspect of things too. It's always family first with us. So.
And I will just echo with Becky and Emily that I think, for me, the reason why I do what I do is about the relationships, whether that's a relationship with the client or whether it's a relationship with the staff that I supervise, or if it's a relationship with the administrative team and my supervisors. I think that Range Mental Health really is very, very person-centered when it comes to client care and when it comes to employee care. And I think that we have a team of people that really care about the work that they're doing. They're committed to it. They are loyal and they are hardworking, and that is inspiring. Knowing that you can be a part of something positive and that you can create change inspires me. So.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, here at Ecumen, I'd have to echo what the Range Mental Health team said. I think we're all in the industry or the business of serving people in some capacity, and that's why we're all called to our roles. So I love our patients and our team members, but for me, I've been with Ecumen for just over a year myself, previously working for over 13 years at a larger hospital. And so secondary to the people, whether it's our team members or the patients, residents, and tenants that we serve in the community, I would say the organizational culture is vastly different than that I've ever been exposed to before, just how well Ecumen cares for its team members and is very intentional in recognition and providing support and different retention activities and celebrations for the team members is really important. You know, you can't forget that our most important part of our organization and any team is the people that do the work and work at the bedside with our patients and help to support the entire campus. So I really appreciate how Ecumen approaches its support and its caring for its own team members.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I love working with older adults, but being able to work amongst history, like the people that live here, they have such incredible stories, and they've lived through far worse than this recent pandemic, and you know, just incredible lives. And I love hearing their stories, and I love that we are able to serve them and give them a great place to live and friendly faces. And then of course, I love the people that I get to work with here too.
All right, and so I love being a part of the DECC just because it's such a huge part of the Duluth community, and bringing these fun events and memories to so many people is pretty cool to be able to do. And then in my job specifically, I get to meet a lot of people. I think I've hired like 300 people or something since I've been here, since we've reopened. And I've just met so many new people and made so many great connections. And then being able to offer these kinds of opportunities to people who haven't been working for a while, it's been great. So.
Great, thank you. Thank you all for sharing that. I will give one more call for questions. Wait a second, if anybody has any questions. And then we'll just end, if nobody else has any other thoughts or questions, we'll end with one more question, which I'm going to start with Ecumen Lakeshore this time, because you hit on this a little bit. But what are some of those skills, or like soft skills, the human element that you look for when you're hiring somebody? What is kind of those characteristics that would make somebody a good fit for your organization?
Yeah, I think of like the 3 C's, the care, compassion, and consideration. You know, people taking care of another human being, it can be complex, it can be challenging, you know, when people are at their worst, or they aren't at their full health and they're needing rehab, or maybe they're losing their memory or their cognition. It can be really challenging and difficult for patients and family members and loved ones to process that. So having team members that have that genuine, innate caring and compassion and consideration for another human is just really critical to the work that we do every day here at Lakeshore.
Yeah, great answer. And range mental health, same question. What are some of those characteristics that would make somebody a good fit for your organization?
Well, I suppose I can take a little bit. I'd kind of like you ladies to jump in too, because you're hiring managers. So we always look for dedicated, confident, reliable employees, a lot of engagement. That's what makes them valuable. We want strong interpersonal communication skills. Honest and ethical is what comes to my mind.
And I would agree with everything that Becky's saying. And I think the other piece, you know, those that are just willing to learn, and that, you know, when people come on board, you know, being able to work as a team and really just being able to meet people where they're at and being person-centered, I think are some of the core pieces that we really look for as well.
Great. Anything
I just want to
Sarah?
add really quick to really strong emotional intelligence is really important when working in mental health too. So.
Great. Yeah. Sarah, did you have anything to add to that?
I would just add, I mean, I echo everything that Becky and Emily already said, but I think that people that are able to take care of themselves well and prioritize that, because that's so important in the work that we do. You know, I mean, we have to be willing to take care of ourselves, or we aren't going to be at our best to be able to help take care of other people. So I just think having a commitment to the field and to our own personal and professional growth is really important as well.
Great. Thank you, Range Mental Health, for answering that. And then back to Lauren, same question. What are some characteristics that would make somebody a good fit for a position at the DECC?
Sure, yeah. I usually do a lot of focus on customer service and what kind of customer service experience they have, and also communication and making sure they can communicate clearly with me during the interview and, kind of communicate during the process to schedule things and everything too. So, yeah.
Great answers. All right, another huge thank you to our presenters today. Thank you, Range Mental Health Center, for being here. Ecumen Lakeshore, thank you. And the DECC, thank you for being here and telling us a little bit about your organization, telling us about some jobs that you have available. We do share out these recordings to our candidate base of over 4,000 candidates. So hopefully you'll get a lot of good views and a lot of interest in those positions. And as you can see on my screen here, our next business meet and greet, this will be our last one that we have scheduled for the spring, is Tuesday, April 12th, 2022 at the same time at noon. And then we have some students, like I said, on our call that are part of our Student Connect program. And our last Student Connect learning session will be on Tuesday, March 29th, which is next Tuesday, also at noon. And that is all for us today. We appreciate having all of you here. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks to all of you. Have a great day.
Thank you.